Indie Villain says, Susato probably already knows the answer to the case, just ask her. Exactly. Susato is the MVP in this story. Not Hamburger Johnson. Not Hamburger Johnson. Susato. Anyway, I guess let's continue where we left off, which is, I mean, we found out some information. Start playing from, yes, okay. Yeah, they're doing it! I'm excited about the Cuphead cartoon. It's gonna be so good. Okay. So they're doing another summation examination of the jury. God, what happened last time? So they finally interviewed the cop and his wife, and they're both just insufferable. And they're the only ones who are witnesses to the situation. And we also found one of the Moonface man's Moonhead man's what's his name? Mr. Garadib? This man, hold on. Let me You can't see him from the side. Okay. This man's book was at the scene of the crime. And it was like, how did it get there? What the frick? The window wasn't open, and I'm pretty sure the window was open. But this is the book that was found at the scene of the crime. Anyway, that's my summary. Is there anything I'm missing that's important? I have considered the defense's counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. Or judicial. Judicial? Oh my god. I can't say words. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of his crime. Okay. Judicial findings. Jurors' contentions. Okay. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book. Hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at a home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. We squeezing movie Sonic? Good thing he's right here. He is literally right here.
That all you got? Takes more than that to stop me.
You heard it from Sonic. He said it himself. Takes more than that to stop him. Yes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. With one notable exception, of course. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover... What a rude bitch! Fucking respect their property. What the fuck? Someone has to fucking clean this every single time he does it, which is multiple times per fucking case. No one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. That means I'm afraid that during this summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those two details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And there I was, thinking this might be hard. But, Mr. Johnson, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends. No pressure then. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. He must have brought so many glasses to court. Yeah, he probably has an entire case of like 12 of them. Actually, is 12 even enough? How many bottles of wine do you think he brings? Sorry, blood. Sorry, wine. Sorry. Wine. How much money can they get from recycling all that glass? Yeah, they're not gonna think of recycling at all. Yeah, I know, right? It's just making a mess for people to clean up. It's so fucking rude. I presume you are prepared, counsel. Oh, yes, my lord. All right, hamburger. Focus your mind now. He's so cute. Little baby burger. Clearly, the key to this summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say, Miss Garadeb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house on the evening of the incident. And the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the two. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Garadeb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Jury, examination! Yeah, is he gonna walk around again? Hell yeah. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. Press.
Hold it!
Hold it. But as we now know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? Okay. There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry. Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said. That's not exactly how I put it. No. No, she was fucking... Jesus Christ. There's some fucking domestic abuse going on. That wasn't a fiery scrap. That was... Okay. I don't get how anyone in that courtroom thought having the maid on the jury is a good idea. I would assume that somehow... Van Zieks, Mr. Dracula himself, had something to do with this. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. They still don't know that it's his wife, also. I assume we're gonna reveal that soon, but... Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver's about. It's a done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I've nothing witty left to say. Perhaps Count Dracula was the one hiding inside the snowman, since we know someone must have been there. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's probably cold as ice already. He's not gonna mind if he goes into the snowman. Okay, let's see. So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face, but I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. I keep hitting that button instead of looking around. Okay. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? And not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man over there is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know. So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you omitted rational there. That was good. That was a really good, that was a good moment. Thank you, Susato. Metropolitan Woman is the prequel to Society Girl. Yeah. Even if this woman was throwing books, it can't be related to the crime if the window is closed, can it?
Hold it!
But what about the possibility that the window was open? But what about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. I'm watching you, lady! How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? There was a fucking fire in there! Why wouldn't the window have been opened? Okay, I feel like this is something we have to present against, but I also don't know if we have evidence that says that the window is open? That's just information we have in our head because we were there and they told us. Fuck. Okay. Then what's the point in even having windows, huh? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering. Oh, sorry. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit.
Hold it!
But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. Oh my fucking god. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Miss Garrideb. Never you mind that. The point is we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Right, well, we'll see about that. But what about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Mrs. Garrideb's relentless onslaughts. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is. No! Oh my god, I also fucking hope she's arrested. Yeah, I know, poor juror number 5. Like, literally just wants to get out of here so he can fucking afford dinner for his family, and he's stuck here dealing with this fucking bullshit. Okay, look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring some home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble.
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, do you know? It's funny, but I can't quite remember. Sorry? What? It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out. Wait, is he a fucking witness to this whole thing as well? I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Miss Susato. There must be some way to jog his memory about this. Yeah, I love when witnesses are also on the jury. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes.
Hold it!
Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry? What's that? You'll have to speak up, lad. I didn't see her budge at all. Is it Thames instead of Thames? Okay. Thames? Thames? You know, I've been corrected on this before and I can't remember. Could you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. Ten with an M instead, so Thames? Thames? It had 75 candles on the top, it did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday, obviously. It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Johnson. Oh, okay, I guess they don't put candles on cakes at this time in Japan. Okay. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. But how'd you get a cold from a fire? How else are you supposed to share your spit with your guests? Yeah, you know what? I don't know if blowing out candles is ever gonna be a thing again. Unless it's on, like, you have a candle on your cupcake and you blow it out. Thanks, COVID. Now we can't share our spit with our guests anymore. It is a little bit of a sad thought. Like, I actually, like, I am... One thing that I do, that I used to do would be, like, when I go out, like, drinking, like, to all get a bunch of different beers with my friends, and then, like, we share them, we try each other's beers, but now that's, like, you can't do that anymore. That's not a thing you can do anymore. It's fucked up. What if he fiasco it was! The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the candles, or flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course. We had to open up all the windows to clear it. Oh, there we go. Look, he's gonna say, okay. This is what we needed. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. Put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. But something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsumi, who could have attacked the young woman on the street. As well as how he or she could have done it. Yeah, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced that they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you're gonna need to put them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yeah. I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions. I just need just a connection might do the trick. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. I love that he said that out loud. I know, he had been talking about the devil worship in his head! The entire court's gonna be like, what the frick? What is this guy talking about? That's the spirit. Okay, so I think we need to pit, who was it that was talking about the window not being open? It's this one. Okay, so we're gonna pit, you against... you? I think? Pit.
Objection.
I fucking love the character animations in this game. It's so good. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point to me again. I told you it wasn't me. Huh? What's that you say? Speak up, lad. Speak up. Juror number 3. Do you see? Oh, me? See what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh! Exactly. Hell yeah! Walking animation. I'm just gonna sit here for a second and drink some coffee. Because someone put a lot of effort into this pacing animation. Because it's not in any of the other games. And I want to appreciate it. Because it's very good. Finally his brain starts working. Yeah, he's able to walk around, get that circulation up. Oh, sorry, were you talking about juror number 3? Either way. Pacing is Hamburger's middle name, yeah. Exactly. On the day in question at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household. And Mr. Garadeb had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke. Oh! Oh, wow. Oh, my hat! Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. I should probably pursue this, right?
Excuse me.
Excuse me, lady. That's a lot of tea. Way too much caffeine. More FPS in the pacing animation than Abra's floating animations in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah. Yep. Hamburger pacing Slugma Johnson. Juror number 4. Do you have something to say about that? Mrs. Garadeb. Oh, dearie me. What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is this? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon! What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and the bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. What the fuck? Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Johnson. You've managed to establish that the window was open. We simply must have that added to Mrs. Garrideb's formal statement. This woman is the murderer, right? Like, we're going to arrest her, right? I fucking hope we're gonna arrest this woman. Big fucking yikes. Okay. I guess I should press this again. Now you mention it, yes. The windows was open at the time. I'd clean forgotten, but it is true. The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. If the game doesn't arrest her, we'll arrest her in our minds, yes. She's gotta be right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she is the worst. The title of this book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrideb told us that he had been reading. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw that at your husband? The copy of The London's Pride that he had been reading. I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it? Yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as well you know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it.
Excuse me.
What's up? What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I've remembered what it was. That memory I blocked out. It was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back. Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Garrideb, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. Oh, God. Big yikes. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I'd just gotten back home, after work, like. I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I'd just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Oh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck into the wall next to me it did, about an inch deep. No words, just terror. I could smell it then, you know. That god-awful stench of the Thames. Thames? Thames. I was sure I was gonna end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Mr. Johnson, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. What? Attack? How are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Fucking Susanoo. Hold on. Yeah, I know. God damn it. Okay, I didn't want to laugh at the fact that... Yeah, Susanoo is a bow and arrow pervert. Yes, yes. Damn it. Okay, okay. Yeah, don't throw stuff. Yeah, use a bow and arrow. Instead. Okay, Susanoo. Am I pressing this as well? Did a knife get thrown? Did a knife get thrown? Is that what happened? I'm assuming a knife got thrown out that window. Is that what they're implying here? Do I press? Let's press this. Should I press this first? Or is this what we just pressed?
Hold it!
Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? That's right. She was chopping meat with it. Had a tidy edge on it, believe me. Still, it's all memories, isn't it? Started with that smile she threw at me when we were courting. No! Dude, no! Ah! And since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. There was a cup, then a glass, then a pot, a kettle, a chair, a wardrobe, a cooker, a bathtub. Your wife must be even beefier than you. And things came to a head last week when she threw me right into the Thames. Still, she's not so bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. Oh no! Oh, man. Can you imagine if they had, like, you can't do this. This is terrible. Domestic violence is not a fucking joke. They're playing it as a fucking joke because it's women abusing men, and that fucking sucks. I hate it. I hate it so much. It makes me so angry. If you want to know what I think this whole idea of ladies first that we're so obsessed with in this country was thought up by some clever lads who've been tossed into the Thames too many times by their wives. That's a very interesting theory. What a terrible thought. On the face of it, this juror's statement just sounds like a really extreme anecdote. But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept an alternative explanation here. Yeah, the whole case is basically that. Yeah, I know, it sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna pit juror 2 and 5 against each other because I'm guessing this fucking woman threw a knife at her husband. Okay. Let's go. Pit.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2. Do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? Hell yeah, pacing animation. We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garrideb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrideb's household onto the street below. Huh? What's that now? After all, Miss Garrideb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As a foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What was it? I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain that at the very least, this warrants further investigation. All right, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. Do we have the knife in our inventory? Yeah.
Take that!
Juror number 4, Mrs. Garrideb. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before? Good lord, counsel. What on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged into the victim's back, man! This has an inscription on it, right? Did it not? I thought this had an inscription on it. No. Okay. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garrideb was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had been backed up against the window. A window that had been opened to clear the smoke, through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that. The book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Huh, even my missus ain't got a name like that. Yes, I admit, there are many details we don't yet understand. But that's not the point. But that's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Ah! Mrs. Garrideb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Oh, Ah! I mean, I guess she has. My lord! Hi, I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madame. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman? I wasn't expecting him to change his mind. I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny did it, mind. Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now, ladies and gents. Okay, we're saved again. We successfully turnabouted. We did it. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Johnson. So, as a result of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. 2 jurors call guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue. We did it. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? Oh, it's wine, blood time. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. Fucking what? Fuck you! But what follows is so repugnant that it's good for nothing save the gutter. The backs of the jurors' chairs match the verdict they gave. Yeah, it's pretty great, actually. I love that they do that. Dracula was surprisingly uninterrupted during that whole thing. I know, right? He was too busy, drinking wine, having a single sip out of a wine glass and then tossing it into the flame. I think he definitely needs more than 12 glasses. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. The defendant has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves with the relative positions of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrett household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrett's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards. Let me see, 15 yards... That's around 14 meters. But 14 meters? Oh, that's a little further than I'd imagined. And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book wanton hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards. To land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumbs. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near-identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Ah! Just gonna go and insult Herlock Sholmes like that? There's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Miss Susato, serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. Oh, Susato! I love her so much. My lord, might I be allowed to speak? As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead. The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. Get fucked. Wow. Good job, Susato. Grab her bow and arrow. Yeah, right! To that end, Juror number 4, Miss Joan Garadeb, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror? Yes? Order! 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 Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
Just shoved an entire bottle of wine behind him. Fuck! And unnecessary. Lord Van Zeeks? There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory... I know that's... The base word is farce? Farcical? Theory has any truth in it. Then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses? Yes, sir! Constable Rolly Beat! Reporting for duty, sir! Oh, he woke up again. Well... Good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they're so heroic, these London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rolly, my hero, you make me swoon. Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request. Are you fucking serious, Judge? What the fuck? Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir! Okay. Well, I'm gonna go take a break. The fuck was that bullshit? Please go grab some water, go grab a snack, go do a stretch, and when we get back, we have to listen to these two fucking bitches talk again about how they didn't actually see anything, but they're cops, so you gotta respect their word, apparently. I'm gonna be right back. I'm back. Hi. It's so quiet. Start the music. There we go. Okay. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. Believe me, a London bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garadeb house are top-hinged casements. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Okay. This man is also known for falling asleep. We've seen it happen several times in this courtroom. Well, that is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows. That detail was not in the police report, Constable. What does that mean? What is a fucking casement window? Earliest form of movable window, wood or metal frame with hinges or pivots at the upright side of the vertically hung sash. So it opens outward instead. It opens outward alongside its entire length. Oh, like this. It opens like this? Instead of like up and down. Okay. Yes. Sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir! Sorry, but... What exactly is a top-hinged casement window? Okay. I mean, I could have, I guess, waited and clicked ahead instead of looking it up, but okay. And you... You cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course, sorry. I've found it, Mr. Johnson. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room. Alright, I'll try. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Oh, okay, it's a top hinged. Oh, okay. It's set, yeah, never mind. So they move, it's only the top one opens. Oh, God damn it. This fucks our story. A little bit. Okay. But as it's a top hinged casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see. I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. Also, by the way, I've just realized what type of window I have in my apartment. Okay. It prevents it from opening? This is all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it only could have been thrown downwards. It would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down into the pavement below. No. You see the problem then? Good. Your education in windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already. That can't be! Wait, are we sure that the window pane was not shattered? Because I don't think we're sure about that. How much smoke can escape through those windows? Yeah, I'm wondering about that too. They don't open very wide, right? Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong. My fucking God. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed. Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. Yeah, proceeds to gag. Exactly, I know. I hate it. My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation. I don't think I know what rocket power is. They tried the impossible skateboard move only to pull it off because a tennis ball caught the neighbor's lawnmower, hit the midair. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be a situation of exactly perfect circumstances. Where, like, it bounced off of something else. It hit the top of the mirror and bounced off of something else. I think they're both supposed to look like puppets. I'm not sure what they're... Like, I don't know how that relates to their name pun. Their last name is Beat because they... Because he that's what it's called when you're patrolling, I think, is what I learned in this game. But I don't get the pun on their name, but I'm gonna wait until we finish this case to look it up, because I don't want spoilers in case there are any. You didn't watch Nickelodeon? No, we didn't have Nickelodeon, so no, I've never seen it. No. Didn't have Nickelodeon in Canada. Unless you were a rich kid, and then you had satellite. Which I did not have. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. I'm gonna press that. Hold it. How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. That's what the job's all about. And that is why I stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you a Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes and admittedly, sir.
Oh, Rolly, you're so manly.
Of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
No, none of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb? Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir. Yes, well, so, could you answer the question? That was a waste of time, then. Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to the fullest of my abilities, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's domestic disputes can't be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one more thing. Yes? I'd very much like for you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and know how we uphold our guiding principles. No, he's not. Yeah, also, he's not gonna go back and tell the story of cops. Come on. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I'm only just arrived here. So, to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try? Oh boy, okay. I guess we should look at that then. Principles of policing. A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. A patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Any crimes that fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Okay, so this bitch. We're gonna get him on a fucking technicality because he told his wife to go to a police box that was in a different district because he didn't want to have to fucking work on this case. Right? That's what happened last time? I'm pretty sure that was the case. Because he was off duty, and he wanted to go home, so he told his wife to call the police in a different district. Fuck you. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrideb house are top-hinged casements. By which you mean they don't open fully, is that correct? Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see. So they're restricted as to how much they open. And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide open road. Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top-hinged casement thing before? Like, literally not on the last day of court? Sorry, not at the end of this case. I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house is furnished with? How can can windows be real if your eyes aren't real? Ha, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday. Oh?
Excuse me.
Excuse me, miss. Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat? Sorry. You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course, I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see.
Oh, I hadn't realized. Is it across the fucking street?
Oh yes, that street, Briar Road, that's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat? Okay, so they moved the body then, right? And then made her call the other district? Oh yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with the interview and the occupants of the Garrett household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see, so... That really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrett household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Garrett's house? Yeah, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see. I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a Bobby, after all.
Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Mr. Johnson. I'll take care of it immediately.
Okay. Here I was thinking that the book Mrs. Garrett threw was hollowed out like a spy novel with a knife inside. You know? Still could be a thing. I mean, it was burned up though, so maybe,
And now it's my turn, I think. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it.
Hold on. Did she update her testimony? Okay, let's go back.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it.
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark.
Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
Sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can't it guide you to the answer? Can't it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star.
And if I had seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rolly be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least.
Of course. With that smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir! That is correct, sir!
As sure as the night sky in London is starless, It certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
He's ooh-ooing, yeah. Oh, God. Ugh. This couple.
I did leave the scene to go fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right?
That's right, yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat.
So Rolly told me the way, only I sort of got a little lost on the way.
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly!
Oh, please.
So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. I know this is outside the scope of the stream, but do we think Rolly is a business daddy or a pleasure daddy? I think business daddy.
Hold it!
But a really bad business daddy. Not good bad either, just bad. Like he's bad at it. Nothing to report? That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. And no one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I can swear on that. I can swear to that on the yard's honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of The Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrative household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hands of the victim? Can you shed any light on that scene as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Hey there, Foxhound, welcome in. I announced hold it during arguments, and it never seems to work as well as in these games. Right? They just do it with such confidence, you know? I hope you're doing well today. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, incompetent daddy. That's a better word. That's a better word. Thank you, Indy. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them. Oh! Hey, MC Raven! Thank you so much for resubbing for 23 months. Where'd the notification go? Thank you for resubbing. 23 months is a long ass time. Yeah, probably because he has a sword. That's super intimidating. It's not even his sword. I mean, I guess it is now. Had a rough morning, but got some cleaning done and taking a break. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad you're having some time to take a break now. And accomplishing something is always good. It's even more intimidating. Right?
Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I wasn't really, I mean, what's she doing?
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word. I am.
I really don't ever remember suggesting that I doubted you.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Oh my god, I fucking hate this woman. Yes, Miss Beat. I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud mutter.
I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Oh, there it is!
He has a sword.
Yeah! MC Raven, thank you. Stream elements is something. Okay. Oh, I already said this. That Japanese man thinks policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he?
Well, watch out, sir! I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Duly noted, Miss Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Okay.
Hold it!
Mrs. Beat, nobody is questioning what you've told us.
I saw it. I did. That evening, I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back, slinking away from the scene.
Huh.
And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
Excuse me!
Excuse me. Constable Beat, is there a problem? No, sir. No problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening's all. You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15.
Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies they found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Yes, how romantic.
I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling?
Ah! Oh, yeah. But that was just, between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise...
Really? Oh.
Wait, what is going... What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Johnson. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Miss Beat about the bouquet. Gyarados and a crooked back man. I see they haven't run out of Sherlock Holmes references. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every single case is at least somewhat based on a Sherlock Holmes, story. In some way or another. And uh-oh, indeed. Okay, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Uh-oh.
What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. I was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on.
Yeah, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. And that's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to go pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
Oh my fucking god. In case you need reminding, Miss Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
I think I'm right. Yeah, I think I'm right. I frequently need to visually confirm objects that I'm holding exist. Okay, here we go. Your husband, presumably?
That's right. Silly me. I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm gonna blame the bouquet this time. I can't think of how it got there. I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite. Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick up the bouquet again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly brought me, the beautiful rose that Rolly bought me, with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose?
Oh! Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for my anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose? Tell us, Lord Van Zeeks, where did you come by the flower? Object permanence is hard. Yeah, if it's dark, who knows? Dracula has no chill, but at the same time, I imagine he'd be very cold. Because he's a Dracula, right? Ironic. According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garrideb household. In front of the Garrideb's house? Although it wasn't noticed until morning as it lay on the street where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh.
The anniversary bouquet has been entered into the court record.
But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget, Miss B. Would a rose by any other name still be purchased with gutter change? Fuck. Okay, hold on. I need to look at this rose. This gutter rose. It's in pretty good shape for having been left outside all night. An English rose. It's such a beautiful flower. This is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before. Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Johnson? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know 3 types at least. Gosh, 3? Yeah, Plum Blossom, Peach Blossom, and Cherry Blossom.
Perhaps you should consider branching out?
Good pun. Good pun, Susato.
Learning some that aren't fruit-based trees, for example?
I love her. She's the best. It's very stylish paper this flower's wrapped in, isn't it?
It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, I suppose it's because I'm not used to seeing English print. It looks so exotic to me.
I see.
Is something wrong?
Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake.
Ah, Susato-san, you do love your cakes. As she should. Cakes are fucking awesome. Was there a different dialogue for the rap? No, okay. Skip. Back. Okay. Nothing to report on. Okay. Is this a new dialogue? No, I ended up losing my. Okay, I feel like I have to present the bouquet somewhere. Do I present the bouquet here, possibly? Because he said nothing changed, right? And clearly something did, because the rose was on the other fucking side of the street, because he fucking moved the body because he's an asshole.
Objection!
You claim, Constable Beat, that there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
What? What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Miss Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single-story bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs.
Meager?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact?
No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it.
Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor.
But the bouquet belonged to me. It's nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
No, because sadly it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Oh man, he's giving a fucking death stare here. I do make objections to insult roses. You know what? I enjoyed that though, honestly. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garridub's book. Mr. Garridub's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed there on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garridub's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them. Oh shit! Oh shit!
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Wittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking. That's what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Garrideb's come round. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrideb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Johnson. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is somebody who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. It's fucking Mrs. Garrideb. Counsel, I demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Nothing personal, kid teleports Rose across the street. I'm a huge fan of that meme. Who's responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? It's fucking Joan Garrideb, because of course it is. I'm pretty sure? Or no, wait, sorry, no. It's gotta be Rolly Beat, right? We don't get to present Garrideb yet. Now, whether he did it because she told him to or whatever is a whole different thing, I guess. Let's do this.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? Oh no! Are you telling me that a cop did something bad? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? What nonsense. Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat. You said that in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up! It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime, to hide something. That's right, he's right! But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Johnson, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the victim fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? Coming in late, I assume there's a very good reason you're calling him Mr. Johnson, but can I ask what it is? Yeah, sure. His name's Hamburger. We've been calling him Hamburger Johnson. It's, I don't even know. Like, I feel like so many people have asked this that I need to make, like, a Nightbot command or something. Like, why Hamburger? But Hamburger Johnson is a very good meme that I don't 100% know who came up with it, but I think it was Ignorant Spoon, but then Great Newtons ended up making a Photoshop of it. And it was like, Hamburger Johnson for Smash. But it's a pun on, it's like a play on the fact that the Ace... Tele Francais. Tele Francais. Oh, New Van Dyke! Okay, my alerts are delayed for some reason today, but thank you so much for resubbing for 17 months. Thank you, thank you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, friend. If you have a full name, Hamburger Johnson, that's sufficient. Okay. Well, yeah, so, if you don't know the story about, like, localization with Ace Attorney games, one thing that they do was they when they localized some of the earlier games, they made ramen hamburgers. So it's also a play on that whole thing where, like, the localization, like, Americanizes people's names. And this game is very Japanese. And everyone has Japanese names. So that's kind of how this whole thing... Yeah, eat your hamburgers, Apollo. Exactly, yeah. That's kind of how this whole thing came about. You got COVID, but you're recovering. That's good to hear that you're recovering. That sucks. That sucks. Okay. I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? Like right here. This is where it was, right? Where the fuck the roses were? Present?
Take that!
We don't have to be pixel perfect, right? Okay. But that's on the opposite side of the road? I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garridub's book fell directly down from the open window above. And your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious.
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending for you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. Good Man Gracious would totally be a character in this game. Yes, 100%. But the constable overlooked one thing. What? What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening.
How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat. Are we gonna get a death animation? Well, I'm, very sorry. I mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Oh, Rolly. If it isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said's all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out, everything expose. Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Order! Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Good golly, roly poly. Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town. I can't say, sir. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation, for everything. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. Wow, get fucked, vampire. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? Oh my god!
On the victim's corpse while singing Telefranchise.
Telefranchise? Thank you again, New Van Dybe. The alert finally popped. I don't know why it's so delayed today. Okay. It's the warrant card, I think, by the way. Because he fucking broke the rules, right? It's either that or this.
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan. Which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is so completely new to me. I've learned that, through honorable patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do so each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes. It was our very first wedding anniversary.
Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife. And was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot of being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policeman, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with his initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes! Everything you said. It's all right. Vancy's is like, are you fucking serious with this shit? So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat?
Oh!
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? It's a copper's duty to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you'll have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mearsham Street and then... I'd have to do my job while I was at work. I mean, to be fair, he was off duty. The only reason he was bound to do anything about this was because it was in his district. But still, yes, he should have, yes, maybe he should have done his job. But yeah, I can see why he might not want to do it. Yeah, yeah. But like cursing God, yes, yes. I really don't feel bad for this guy whatsoever. Like, fuck off. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Constable.
I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner.
Oh, Rolly.
Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon?
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would have never left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
I see your meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat.
Oh no, Rolly. That was all my fault. I should never have dropped in such a dark place. No, this is not what the— No, what are you—
That's not the lesson you should have learned out of this!
I'm so sorry, Rolly.
And can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? Yeah, if only I've helped you cover up your crime better, I know. Huh? Oh, 4 it was, yes, definitely 4.
3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsumi, and the 4th... being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course.
But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because, that's how I found it. Yeah, okay, so here's what happened. I bet she went to go pick up the book because it fell out of the window, and then the knife fucking flew down and hit her in the back. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all around the road would make me a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. Yeah, fuck you. My lord. Yes, Lord Van Zieks. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir!
Mr. Prosecutor, sir? What will become of my Rolly? What'll happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable. Sir? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, carve that lesson into your mind. They're not gonna fire him. He's still gonna fucking be on the police force, by the way. Van Zieks was just like, maybe do a better fucking job of it next time. We'll talk later. And never make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Huh? Never again, sir? You mean to say? Leave now. This trial is not yet over. Sir! A wife complained about her husband's workload is clearly worse violation than crime scene tampering. Yeah, he'll just be on paid administrative leave. Exactly. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsumi, is the only person who could have possibly committed this crime. That's not fucking true! It happened under the fucking window! God damn it! No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of the possibility already.
Lord Van Zieks, is this true? It's the snowman, yeah. Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. And the prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You will name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime. It's fucking this bitch.
Take that!
Immutable fact number 1, Van Zieks is a lost Joestar. Oh yeah, he definitely has some JoJo poses. He's at least in the part of the JoJo universe. He has a stand at least. Okay. The defense would like again to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again? My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb. Me? Me? Oh, dearie me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Stand rough justice. I feel like you need some sort of, like, stand vampire weekend or something. Vampire weekday. Double objection equals objection turnabout? Probably. I think we're... do you think we're gonna go about another turnabout, though? I feel like we have all the facts of this case now. Mrs. Garadeb, please answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of this argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open topped hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down. Finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the crime. I was gonna say crime, it says incident though. Okay. Yes, and as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back? Have you really never laid eyes on it before? Ah! I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4. Oh! Make no mistake, your jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madame, let the truth come out. But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb? Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. No, Susanna, what? No, do not feel bad for this woman. So yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if it's what you think. Come along now, chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Johnson? If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh! The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. Surprising change of heart here. I'm going to have to testify? Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today, witness's testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Yeah, when did Van Zieks become a reasonable guy? It must be, he must have a motive, right? Unless his motive is Mrs. Garadeb is a piece of shit. And I'm sick of this. Let's lock her up. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real.
Little baby Burger's growing up.
I'm here, in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garadeb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror, and such like.
It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid, or whatever anymore. Changes his name to the Baconator! The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madame?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh dearie me.
Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather, I think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
I presume you are Mr. John Garadeb? Yes, sir! Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yeah, quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once!
Why is he defending her? Oh my god.
Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd notice if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware of that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker away from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say, I'm dubious that the testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than that have testified already. This may be a dead end. Well, Van Zieks may be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Johnson. Yes, I'm afraid so. Right, Foxhound? Very well, counsel. Bring in your cross-examination. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now.
Hold it!
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garadeb.
A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garadeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs. Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide off the mark anyway.
A likely story.
These waters run very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face? Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and we got the windows open.
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? A bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happened there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
The defendant, Mr. Natsumi, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
Oh my god, fuck off.
That is most certainly not true of a Suzato takedown, Mr. Johnson.
How did she know I was thinking that?
So, please cast your mind back and try to remember.
Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall.
How is this whole court not chanting jail, jail, jail? I fucking know, right? Okay, lady. I just laughed and spit on my face. Okay.
But I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge. A napkin.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb. No? Don't shoot. Sorry, I beg your pardon? Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every volley. Ah! Good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear.
No monster, just an arsonist and attempted to murder my husband by throwing a knife. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. She is a piece of shit.
What's she even doing with a teapot in here? Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir? Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, as she did. Yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see. So your pipe was broken. I would never have been sent. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
Huh. You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
I wonder what we should make of this account. I feel like it's probably important. The defense believes Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. A tray of fiery wife and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of admitting or adding to the formal testimony. Indeed. Common sense, one might say. Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingrate yourself with a young lady.
Ingratiate, sorry. Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Johnson. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh, no, it's fine. Thanks to Suzato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully. There's a small nick out of the bowl here, look. It appears to have been made relatively recently.
And see how there are little scrapes and dents all over it? It's clearly a well-loved pipe.
Yes, you're right. It seems to me recently that being well-loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. This particular nick is catching my eye, though, because it's clearly new. It's the fucking tip of the knife. Are you serious? Oh, something just twinkled inside the pipe there.
Yeah, I saw it. Something's stuck in there, I think.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? How convenient. It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely. It couldn't be. Well, there we go. This is the tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Garrett's pipe. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Is something wrong, Mr. Johnson? I don't really know. There's just something niggling me, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
Perhaps in that case, it would be wise to examine some of the other pieces of the evidence again?
Okay, we already did that. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back and present this. Let's go. Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Garrett. Now, if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim? We can tell you that we found the tip in his pipe. Okay, what do I present and where? It's probably here, I'm guessing. hope this is what I have to do. It was either this or the knife. Mr. Garrideb, could I ask you to take one good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. But that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does. Dearie me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must D very dizzy.
What is that? A tiny scrap of metal?
Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade.
And what may appear at first to just be a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence.
Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence?
It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there.
And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel?
Are you suggesting that is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
I am!
What?
When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case? It's the fucking jackknife, bitches! Take that.
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back.
Hamburger's face slaps are very good. Like, very good. I love them so much.
If you look closely, you'll see that there is a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
No doubt it has its tips suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, that's not the case. Bone bridge, bone barge, bone knife! A knife! No!
The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
Good grief. Lord Van Zeeks. Is he okay? Oh, shit.
I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match.
Good golly gosh! Order! 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 Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
That's fucking racist, Judge. This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe?
Hey there, Audie.
Yeah, I am enjoying this game so far. This is my first time playing through it. This is as far as we've gotten. I'm enjoying it a lot, except for that this case has been kind of, there's a lot of domestic violence stuff that I don't care for. But I'm excited to play more after this. Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh wait, who was saying that?
During this argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time.
which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord! Yes, and this is when the tiny tip at the blade found its way inside Mr. Garridub's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1! And yet, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. Ah! In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garridub's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below! Oh gosh, oh dear, oh... No!
Objection!
Oh, he's got the wine again! Oh, he's got the wine again! Is he gonna throw the glass? A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling this argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... Oh shit! It's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable... What? Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her... That's right, you silly little man. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above... Bam! There's no possible way it could have planted itself in the victim's back because she was fucking bending over to grab the book! God damn it! Hamburger! You're so close! Come on! Come on! Order! Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of the head. Well, he's lost for words, look! I knew it. I never liked his theory in the first place. I don't know, though, what really did happen. It would appear the defense has made rather spectacular blunder. If theory has even one inconsistency it cannot stand, your theory, my learned friend, is history. No, Hamburger, come on! Come on! Hey, Basil. Hey, Sir Sparky. Yes, he loves throwing his wine into flames. He has, like, I don't know, I'm guessing at least 16 bottles of wine. And maybe double the amount of glasses. And yes, we are acing these attorneys. Welcome in, everyone. Hello. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely. By just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand. Miss Susato? You mustn't worry, Mr. Johnson. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this isn't in the court record. Or is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. It seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection!
Come on, Hamburger, you can do this. This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test!
Yes! If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel? There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer. Goodness. Utter madness. Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. It's the book! 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 The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is the fourth book. Take it! This, the fourth book found at the scene, is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book? Is that not Mr. Garrideb's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim's holding it in her hand. But as we now all know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Quite so, as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true, however. As part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Hold on. My voice is killing me right now. My lips are dry. I need some water. Having to do that Patricia voice earlier, like, killed me. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh, dearie me. We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garrideb's household onto the pavement below, at precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw. Yes, Mrs. Garrideb. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I really can't imagine it. But I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up. Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book. Oh heavens! And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book, what position would her back have been in? That's right. Facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, and stabbed in the back. The next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Mrs. Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsumi. Well, I never! It appeared to Mr. Natsumi that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. Ah! And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never really was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident.
And that is the real truth behind this case. And I fucking bet nothing is gonna happen to this woman. Which is, I think, gonna be the worst part of this whole thing. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that. There, old bean. Poor Mrs. Garadeb. No, Susanoo! Fucking goddamn it! Hey, Uchi, welcome in. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear. It's all right, I know. I hate this. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry! No, she's not. No, she's not. Don't fucking listen to her. Oh my god. Yeah, she threw a fucking knife, Susanoo. Come on. She almost killed a woman! Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garadeb? She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events had left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Damn it. Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have easily been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. Nobody died, no. It's strange. We knew that she didn't die from the beginning. We already knew that. She was in a coma. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful. The woman's out of danger, it seems. Yes, that is good news. It's not the first Ace Attorney case where nobody died, no. Wasn't the conclusion of 2 of Ace Attorney 2? I don't remember. So Mr. Soseki Natsumi. Yes! On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. No, really, it shouldn't. Oh no, Mr. Natsumi. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusions again in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed, too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has gotten the better of him. Yeah, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help! A doctor! For the police! I mean, the police wouldn't have fucking helped you. They're the reason you're in this to begin with. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires, and for that, I am truly sorry. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both. Oh! Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion.
I do declare that the truth can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time. I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Very well, Mr. Soseki Natsumi, I hereby pronounce you not guilty. And finally, Mr. Natsumi. Oh, yes, Lord, sir! You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life. I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again! I'm transported to tears!
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. I should have totally taken a break like 30 minutes ago, but I didn't think this was gonna go for like another 37 minutes. I honestly thought we were gonna end within like 10. So... The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, locum! Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another locum here? Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Johnson, Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Good question. Oh, at last! I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah! Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsumi is delighted. Would it be so hard to just say that then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, no, no! Not that! Lovely, loyal locum lawyer! Well, yeah? I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners, I see towering brick buildings, and from high up windows I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsumi. But! Today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot! You stood firm behind that baronical bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, lawyering bare the baffling truth. Laying bare, not lawyering. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!" Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Sholmes! What a pleasure to see you! I see I am not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh. The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Johnson. I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No. Then my haste was in vain? Ah! It's you! Harlock Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir? This is Mr. Natsumi, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom. Either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes! You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind! My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Ah. Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but humans after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. Sholmes, you fucking asshole. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind. Now then, what was it you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless. Oh, I am sorry, really, but that was quite priceless. Or Soseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And, it would seem, you were not even found guilty. But there is no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsumi? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper! Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed! It will be alright, Mr. Natsumi. Hmm? If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hiya! With a perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato. So, Mr. Natsumi, what do you intend to do now? Yeah, she threw hamburger. You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh. It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I've visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. It's very touching, Mr. Natsumi. Or in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read. As I learned earlier, they based that guy, he's a real author, so you can go read his books, apparently. And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Johnson? Sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we finally have found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right. But we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room? Huh, but what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls. Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. Well, think about it if that's all right. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Susanoo just like, what? Yeah!
Really?
Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. Sorry, hot dog. Sorry, I forgot. Iris is Hot Dog Wilson. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of?
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsumi. I insist. I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes!
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsumi. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy. Locum, I knew you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsumi. It's been a privilege meeting you two. It's a shame that we're gonna have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Johnson? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt that Mr. Natsumi will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. Okay. Is this our attic? Gotta have that garlic to keep the vampires away. So this
is to be our new office, yeah.
Our office? I rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? What? He's not wearing his fucking gear, his getup. Our attic didn't come with a cute cat like the Soseki's. I know. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsumi arrives. We have a lot to celebrate.
Hot dog, you must let me help you.
All right then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. So, Mr. Johnson, how does it feel? To have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So, once again, Mr. Johnson. Welcome to London. Uh-oh. Of course, at the time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depths of the murk that lay behind it. Have we not been doing that the entire game? Is it gonna get worse? I guess it's gonna get worse. Yeah, very ominous. Okay, well that's the end of that case. It's gonna be a while before we get to the next one because I'm changing Tuesdays to speedrunning practice. Because, you know, we got an event coming up that's kind of important. I want to get more practice done on stream. So, but yeah, we'll get back to this probably mid-March, I'm gonna say. March, beginning of March, somewhere around there. But yeah, I hated a lot of things about that case. That's all I have to say about that case. I mean, I guess it's a step towards what's going on with the greater story, but still, that was... Yep, that was something.